Greetings, it's Adam with Rata Grata, and I have found my new favorite Atari 8-bit computer game called Rogul. This is you could call it a homebrew game, and it was designed for a contest. I didn't check where before I started. I think usually these parties and contests happen in Europe. I'm not sure where exactly. But either way, kudos and tip of the hat to Bacciano, I guess, who designed this. Here are the controls. So this is something you'll want to play with a keyboard. I'm actually playing this on my XEGS, but I do have the keyboard attachment to that, and so it seemed to work fine, although I did forget about the firing the range weapon using F for that, so I don't use that in here. But growing up, I had my phase where I was into the Atari 2600, but I didn't have any other Atari consoles. A friend of mine had an Atari 800 XL, and we played a ton of games. But I don't recall there really being any adventure games, RPGs, roguelikes. Didn't even know what the term roguelike was. But at one point I became a PC gamer, got my own IBM PC. My first one had a monochromatic monitor, and that's where I discovered ZZT. Although actually I need to backtrack a little bit. My family did have IBM, I think it was an XT, before 286, super slow junk. But with that, I remember playing a roguelike called Caverns of Zor, and there was a couple of other games on there that they were just very simple graphics, ASCII graphics, stuff like that. But I found myself drawn to games like that, which I just thought of them as RPGs and such. And later on, I learned that the term roguelike and all that. But moving back forward, as I upgraded my PC to a 486 eventually, got a color monitor and all that, discovered many other roguelikes, my favorite of which was actually not for DOS but for Windows 3.1, called Castle of the Winds, which I played that once here for the channel, and that's still one of my favorites till today. But that tangent all aside, Rogul here hits the mark for what I really enjoyed about a lot of those games, but it has some differences. I guess you could kind of call this like Atari, what is it, ATASCII, I think it was called, almost, although it's more detailed than that. It's not all 100% like ASCII style graphics. It's actually like smaller tiled graphics. I don't know which graphics mode this would be running in, but still, on top of the randomized gameplay, or procedurally generated, if you want to call it that, has great, fantastic music, and just lots that I can come back to here. So I'm not going to comment for all this. I do die a few times during this gameplay. Like I said, I should have used my range weapons once in a while, but this brief play that I did for this, I had a lot of fun, and this is a sort of game that, for me, I would buy a physical copy. Although, from what I could tell, this seemed to be very complete. It's always kind of surprising when you get something like this that's made for a party or a contest that is so well done and polished, and seems like a professional game that would have been released back in the day. I guess one more thing before I go is, wouldn't mind seeing games like this on the more powerful, like ST, Falcon. I'm sure there are a few. I know there's like the original Rogue is on the ST that Epix had designed or released back in 1986. But it seems like the Falcon could use something like this. But also, I wouldn't complain if anybody did something along these lines for the 7800 or the Jaguar. The 7800 probably wouldn't work out unless you could get it to work with the Atari 2600 Star Raiders numeric keypad. or using the second button as inventory screen to change everything. I know here was a nice little thing, the Altar of the Ancient God, and so I remember that game that I mentioned, the Caverns of Zor, as well as Castle of the Winds, would occasionally have these fountains where you could drink out of them and it have a random effect. So it's kind of similar there. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a roguelike hit the Jag or some other Atari system. I don't know what you think about those, but if you like RPGs or adventure style games in any way, then these are fantastic games to have. So I'm definitely going to be playing this one more myself. Don't know that if I'll be recording all that, but unless everybody wants to watch play from it. But yeah, I'll leave it at that with more gameplay and no commentary. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.